Hi, welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve PR kerfuffles from a world beyond.
So you got me with that stuttering thing.
Google's never going to monetize us now.
Well, is that gunshots I'm hearing?
Yeah, shooting right through the monetization channel.
I'm trying not to get shot while I'm doing this show, but okay. No, they were fireworks. Sorry.
Because you know what? If you're going to get shot during the show, it would be a damn shame if that shit could be monetized.
It was like Gigi Allen, man. You know, I'm going to kill myself on stage. And then
a lot of empty promises coming out of Gigi.
Yeah, well, he died before he got there. So, you know.
Yeah.
I'm Alexi Auld, and joining me as always is Kid Native Bloody Elbow and Eugene S. Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything Everyone Know About Ass Kicking. We're afraid you'd get your ass kicked for asking. And
are you making fun of his book?
No, I'm just
Eugene,
trying
he's
to...
making fun of your book title.
Come on, man.
You going to take that? Oh, I think Eugene froze. Yep, we lost Eugene. I knew he would be baited into some belligerent macho display. Eugene?
Yes?
You there? I was trying to bait you into going after Alexi because he totally butchered your book title.
Something happened. I was just yanked out.
I didn't butcher your book title. The way in which I enunciated was...
He mocked your book title, Eugene. Are you going to take that?
At least he has the book.
Exactly.
Hey, I've got the book on Kindle.
Yeah.
I paid for it.
Oh, you okay? That's okay then. That's okay.
Collectively, we are the MMA Poncholes.
Ah, see.
That's right. All we need is a pow, pow, pow.
Yeah.
There's a Mexican restaurant I used to love.
We're trying to get monetized here.
There was a Mexican restaurant I used to love in Brooklyn, and they moved, and the neighborhood became hipster-fied. And we went back because we moved out of Brooklyn. We went back. It's like, oh, let's go to the restaurant. So, it's in a new location. We went, and then it was someone's birthday, and they went pow, pow, pow. It's like, oh Lord, like.
Yeah.
He left at the right time.
Yeah.
Speaking of leaving at the right time, Eugene, you're Conor McGregor. Was your training camp trolling of sparring partner Pauli and Malignaggi, Lavin and Pulik, if you will, foreplay for McMagic payday in MMA?
No. I you know what? This is Tiger Woods, chapter 37. You know, and that is, if you're going to play, you must pay. And I think this was legit. You know, I think the horse got out of the barn. I don't think it was trolling. I don't think if I'm McGregor, I actually wasn't trolling. I just thought the guy understood his place, you know, and, you know, bad things happen to sparring partners on the regular. They got knocked out. I mean, there are local MMA guys who, you know, Cain Velasquez, before I fought him, people were like warning me and saying, hey, you know, he knocks out his sparring partners. And a lot of sparring partners are up and coming cats and, you know, realize this is the price of admission and want to go hard and want to do this. Malignaggi was on the other side of it. I didn't think they needed some up and coming young buck to put a real hurting on him. But I think as Conor, that I figured, it's like when I got arrested for telling the guy it was Abraham Lincoln. Well, you know, part of one of the things that got me in trouble was that when the guy actually said the Abraham Lincoln,
you mean the police officer?
The cop guy. is that when he asked me what I didn't go into the full story, which is I gave two names. And the second name I gave was actually a real name of somebody who I knew. And I kind of figured, well, they're going to come to him. I didn't realize they would arrest him during class. I didn't realize they would do that. And he would say, I don't know who has a mohawk and a red moped. I don't know who that could be, but he didn't. He turned me in. So I think that, you know, the understanding was that Malignaggi, he should have known his place, you know, and he didn't. Why? Because as it comes out, he did it for free. You know, and as far as I'm concerned, you know, I'm hearing lots of shit being thrown about it. Conor dickhead, Conor's narcissistic personality disorder, Conor this guy. You know, hey, like Mr. Marcus once said, you knew what the job was when you took it. You know, any good prostitute asks for the money before the fucking. That's the way it goes. You don't ask afterward. How's that going to work? I know a guy who's a fight equipment apparel manufacturer who we all might know, who in Vegas one time went back. He was big into bodybuilder women. Went back to his hotel room with some woman, and then there was a dispute afterward where she was like, "Great, that'll be $100," and he goes, "Hey, I thought you did this out of the love of your heart." And she goes, "I will beat the fuck out of you." And then finally he realizes, man, she weighs about 195 pounds and can bench press 3 plates. Man, I might have a fight on my hands here. So they came to a more equitable arrangement. But Malignaggi is justified in feeling irked, though he should have known what the job was when he took it. Conor McGregor needs to be careful, because if you haven't put your finger up in the air and started to feel it, I'm starting to feel the gyre turn. And, you know, words are coming up that I haven't seen really in connection to Conor McGregor. And people have, maybe it was a third or fourth press conference. Maybe it was the fact that he's $100 million man after the 26th. But the reality of it is, America fucking hates winners. They hate them. And after August 26th, a guy with $100 million is nothing but. Think about how much they've turned around and how much they love Johnny Boney Joni. And, you know, finger in the air. If I'm Conor McGregor, I'm starting to back off of shit. You know, if I want to put the medal down on something, put it down on the other $100 million man. Put it down on Mayweather. But a guy showing up for free, you're going to clown him? What purpose does that serve? And people are saying, oh, well, he's going to fight MMA. That's not going to happen. That's like The Wall. Something else is not going to happen, you know? I mean, you know, you can't kiss up and kick down. It doesn't work, man. If your job is to make people like you and to pay to like you, it doesn't work.
What do you think?
Well, I think Malignaggi fucked up to a certain extent, but I think he's actually doing McGregor's not bidding, but what he's doing is great for McGregor. He's talking about the fight, and he's getting lots of attention, and there's a conflict. It's like an opening act. Malignaggi's the appetizer for Mayweather. You know, you get a good mini feud going, and you've got photos of Conor putting the guy on his ass, which is all he's pissed about, is that they released photos from sparring, which, you know, he thinks is and I also don't understand why the McGregor camp is so eager to put out photos of McGregor knocking out, you know, a very credible pro boxer, retired, and Malignaggi. I mean, what's the advantage in that? The odds are already way too much towards McGregor anyway. I mean, all the dumb money in Ireland is pouring in on this fight. Like, if you're not betting on Mayweather, you're just throwing away free money here. I don't understand why they want to push it more by hyping up how great McGregor's doing in sparring. Maybe this is more their tricks, though, like along the lines of McGregor's been hurt in training camp, which they put out this time and they always put out. I think – what's the question again?
I'm sorry, I got to make –
no laughing out of you, Mr. Cornflower Blue Shirt.
I got to make with the mockery. Sorry, go ahead.
A McMagic pay. I just think, here's what I don't get. Why you guys are dismissing it so quickly and easily. Look, after this fight, regardless of how Conor gets destroyed, like everyone thinks he's going to, if he loses, you don't have a rubber match with Floyd. You have a match with Pauli.
Yeah,
there's not enough money.
You try to drain as much juice.
That's such a step down. Juice. I mean,
that's why they fired Ariel Helwani from Showtime, because they didn't want his nose getting stuck around in the business and sniffing around.
See, Ariel's too smart.
Think about it. Think about it.
Well, you know,
they don't want him poking his nose around there.
No, there's no money. There's no money there. Absolutely not. And you know something else? And this is where I go back to the finger in the air thing. You know, you start to think of return when the triumphant $100 million man that comes back to MMA. Who do you want to see him fight?
Pauli.
I mean, yeah, in MMA, and there's somebody tried to float a trial balloon of Mayweather. He's interested in MMA. It's like,
no,
what the fuck? Were you crazy? Are you crazy? Somebody at Bleacher Report wrote that shit. I go, you guys out of your minds, you know? And more importantly,
in 4 years when Mayweather's completely broke, He'll be very interested in MMA. Mark my words.
And Pauli in 2 years. Think about it. You have a situation where he gets Conor loses in a boxing match. He beats a former 2-time world champion in an MMA match, and somehow that gives him some value. And then he has the follow-up fight against Pauli in the boxing ring. You know what? They're going to stretch this out for as much as they can.
Nah, you know what? But you're missing the $100 million man thing. You know, when I watch a $100 million guy fight, I don't feel good. You know, I don't feel good at all. I feel
like seeing a rich guy get punched in the face.
I don't like being a dupe of you know what makes me feel bad? I tell you what makes me feel bad. Using Facebook sometimes makes me feel bad. You know why it makes me feel bad?
Because you see the pictures of the luxurious lifestyle I'm living and you feel envious?
Or that is being lived by the guy who owns it.
Well, you mean our next president?
Exactly.
Mark Zuckerberg, our next president. Yeah, well, that's not going to happen. But yeah, no.
Just try and stop it.
Yeah, right. But I think that if you are sensitive, if you want a Richter measurement of what's happening, I don't know. I'm feeling the tides turning against McGregor. You know, you have the myopians, the McGregor myopians, but the reality of it is, and you know this for a fact, why did Morrissey leave England? Never have there been, the Great Britain, never have there been a greater collection of haters. It's built into the national character. Everybody gets a little bit. They are happy because he still lives in Dublin. He still drives around Dublin. The local boy made good. He feels good. But at a certain point, that tide is going to turn. The only person I've not heard it turn on is Bono. They still love him in Dublin.
Are you conflating England and Ireland here? Because they're completely different.
I said Great Britain. It's part of the.
It's very different. Very different.
Yeah. No, you're trying to make your regional point because you want the commenters to fucking love you. But the point is, the point is,
it's like want them to love me.
The point is versus people in Florida. America, it's hate with it. But there's the whole thing, and I guess maybe it's common. I mean, the Japanese have it about the nail; it's too high, it gets mashed down, and people get big-headed. But the tide always starts to turn, and the only way it gets redeemed is when somebody like Johnny Boy Jr., who has failings that we have. I mean, look what they did to Jesus. There you go, a perfect man. There you crucified. So
they never crucified St. Patrick. I'll tell you that.
How do you become a saint?
That's a good point. I don't know. I'm sure the Romans ground him up in a meat grinder or something.
Saint Sebastian. Saint Sebastian was the arrows.
That's Saint Stephen. Come on.
Saint Stephen was rocks.
No.
Oh boy! How much do you want to bet on this one?
Nothing. I'm not a Catholic.
Okay. All right.
But Nate, you are WME-IMG.
Always.
Owens.com. You're getting 20% of Conor McGregor's Mayweather purse and half of his pay-per-view money. How do you prevent Conor from using the Ali Act to get his money back after the fight?
Ooh. Well, how is it? What's the argument that the Ali Act would apply in that instance? They're not the promoter of the fight. They're his manager in this situation.
They gave him permission to fight.
They're acting as a broker. I don't think he can. They're not promoting boxing, so the Muhammad Ali Act doesn't apply.
Dana White being on that stage.
As long as they don't promote a boxing match, they're just acting as a manager. Case closed. This is one of the easiest questions ever.
Yeah, I'm not fucking with that. So, I mean, really, seriously, I don't know if you've ever had a period of your life where you made a bunch of money, but I had 2 years where I made $300,000 a year, and that would be 1 year $300,000, and then next year $300,000. I had to work 2.5 jobs to do it, but that's the money I was pulling in, and I was the happiest guy in the world then. I was high-fiving people. I was low-fiving people. I was lending money to people. People would overtry. They didn't give a crap. I was just a happy guy. It may happen. You get $100 million. You don't care. What do you care? Or you're going to have to give us whatever. Whatever. You know, there's no personal. Is it still the case that there's no personal income tax in Ireland? I remember that being it was a tax dodge for like guys like
It's still a tax haven. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
No, personally.
So you have no fears of him when if he's down on his luck one day from being the poster boy of like, oh, back when I was an MMA fighter, I had an opportunity, and
so many things would have to go wrong for him to get to that. Not impossible. You know, I interviewed Holyfield. I was at his house that he no longer owns, you know, in his Rolls Royce that he no longer owns. I mean, shit disappears real quick, but no, not in the short term.
Not worried. Well, how do you feel about being Floyd Mayweather, Eugene? According to Associated Press, ticket sales for your match against Conor McGregor are not performing as expected. Many speculate that your promotional strategy
Time out. St. Patrick was not killed. He died 40 years after 40 years of living in poverty, teaching, traveling, and working tirelessly. He died in Saul, where he had built his church.
What year?
The curveball. You're St. Patrick.
Okay.
What year?
461.
461. So he was one of those weird saints. Like there are certain number, like Saint Eugene. I think
Saint Augustine wasn't martyred either.
Yeah, right.
Despite Bob Dylan's song.
I think Saint Eugene just died from poverty.
How fitting. Huh?
You see a theme? Working its way here, a theme. So,
right.
But funny you looked that up, but you didn't look up Saint Stephen.
Hey, we'll get there. I can only look up one saint at a time. Right. Okay.
So anyway, you interrupted. It was a timeout. Could you finish?
Floyd, Floyd Robinson. Many speculate that your promotional strategy was too much too early. With the fight less than a month away, do you need to make any PR moves to maintain your status as the pay-per-view Bullywoods?
Yeah, I think they really shot themselves in the foot with these these four media events or whatever the hell that they wanted to call them. I mean, it was not. This is not the thing that you do. This is not it's from Taxi Driver. This is, screw and fuck with a bunch of killers and junkies. Is that what you do? No, this is not. I'm square. You're square, man. I'm sorry. I'm just going down that Taxi Driver rabbit hole. No, I mean, you could feel it. You could feel the wind go out of the air, go out of the room. So the question is something that they should have addressed weeks ago. After the fourth one, where you put your finger in there and realize, man, I think we overplayed our hand on that one. What do we got to, there's stuff that's going to come up that they're going to do, right? We're going to start seeing appearances on Kimmel, Fallon, the dead, whoever these guys are who I never watch on TV anymore, Colbert, and people are going to be ginning up the fight, and they might say some incendiary things, and it'll be more low key because, of course, they're sitting across the desk, not from each other, but from a toned down host. If I'm Mayweather, I hope these opportunities are there. I say some compelling but gracious stuff. I turn the focus away from it being a real contest of me against this man. Maybe make a boxing against MMA, or maybe make it a valedictorian thing for a great fighter who's about to do something that nobody's ever done before, go 50-0, and that this is the last you'll be seeing of me. And like a too short record, I'm never going to do another record again. I'm never going to appear. So this is a good way. This is what I should have done before. It's a good way to say goodbye, and and you really pull on the heartstrings and get people to buy tickets,
What about
But I mean, he's stuck. They're stuck. You want to make these big claims, you want to make the big dollars. You got to know that as an MMA fan, I'm endlessly enjoying the fact that, $100 tickets. Hey, I got something for you right there. There's your $100 ticket right there. Because I'm not.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I know exactly. I'm already getting screwed by hotel rooms now in Vegas being $950, and I got the Jiu-Jitsu Worlds to do. And I got waitlisted by the Jiu-Jitsu Worlds because I couldn't pay them on time, even though I registered on time. And so now they wait. So I don't find out until August 16th. So I can't eat until August 16th. That's what poverty gets you.
What do you think, Nate?
All right, repeat the question.
Jeez.
It's not that I didn't understand it or hear it. It's that Eugene got me distracted with
The money
Your Floyd
ran.
Mayweather. According to the Associated Press, ticket sales for your match against Conor McGregor are not performing as expected, and that's when you interrupted. So that's why you don't remember.
I see. I see.
Many
That's
speculate
fine.
that your promotional strategy was too much too early, like you're interrupting my question. With the fight less than a month away, do you need to make any PR moves to maintain your status as a pay-per-view Blue the Woods?
He needs to do some more fight promotion. They're gonna. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I do think that the tour was too much. They did like three too many stops. I think they should have done one. I think they scheduled that tour when they did because of training camp and everything else. Obviously, it would have been ideal if they had done one a week or something for a month instead.
Yes.
But that's just not realistic because of boxing being what it is. I don't think more PR is going to put butts in seats. I think it's a pricing issue. It's not a PR issue. Plenty of people want to watch the fight. Plenty of people are interested in the fight. Plenty of people are talking about the fight. But the ticket prices are a bridge too far. I mean, when he had the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, they jacked ticket prices up ridiculously. And the same with pay-per-view prices. And now they're using this, like they were here, and then for Mayweather-Pacquiao, they went to here, and they're thinking they could double it again. Not quite double it, but multiply it. Like it went, $100 pay-per-view. Give me a fucking break. Like it was bad enough for Mayweather-Pacquiao. I think they'll sell plenty of pay-per-view, but plenty of people will be stealing it too. You can't steal live event, not as well. So I think they need to let the secondary market work its magic and lower some prices, and then plenty of people will buy tickets. That's the thing. It's not a PR question. It's a pricing question.
Well, Nate, you're Daniel Cormier.
Oh, man.
Snoop Dogg was not impressed with your performance against John Jones. Quote, you see who did to DC? He had him cry like a bitch.
Oh,
you shouldn't have been talking all that shit when he was on suspension. Never talk about a man when he's down. You want to pick him up when he's down, end quote. How do you handle your shizzle with the barking Snoop Dizzle?
Well, I think you get in there. I mean, obviously Snoop is a big celebrity, much bigger celebrity than Daniel Cormier. So Cormier has limited leverage. Plus, Snoop is an important client of WME and a big asset for the UFC. So Cormier has my initial thought was, you're Daniel Cormier. You're one of the scariest, 10 people on earth? Intimidate this clown. But,
that worked real well for that guy who did that and got fucking shot up by Snoop's crew in the 90s.
It's a kinder, gentler Snoop now. Gentler.
Suge Knight had nothing to do with that one. He
has money in his pocket now. Like you said, money in his pocket. He's more relaxed, laid back.
He had money in his pocket before. It was his crew you got to worry about.
You wouldn't want to intimidate Martha Stewart.
He's rolling with those hooligans nowadays.
Exactly. Would Martha Stewart approve? But obviously, for a number of reasons, but I was thinking money and power, Snoop is too big a fish for Cormier to go after. And Snoop's far too witty and clever. You don't want to get in a war of words with Snoop Dogg.
You're just stumbling bum and thinking about it.
Yeah. And
it's his business.
Exactly. So if I'm Cormier, I do what the guy who tried to run over me and my daughter in her stroller last week that I pulled fucking pepper spray on did, and you walk away like a fucking bitch with your tail between your legs. That's what you do. So there. Ha.
Nah, I tell you, if I'm Daniel Cormier, I pull a page from the book of Harvey Keitel and the Duelist.
And show your tiny penis?
No, in the Duelist and just wander the land, man. I mean, at this point now, you got to understand his concerns are completely existential, man. He fucking get some squabble with some media figure, but this is what I'm talking about the Johnny Boney Joni and his, before when he was this 19 and 1 guy. They're like, yeah, golden boy, fuck you, man. I got bills I can't pay. I got this. He didn't make us feel good about ourselves, but then he reveals himself to have clay feet. Well, we all got clay feet, right? So now we love this guy, and I saw a number of commenters say, you know what, I took delight in DC losing because in my own personal life, I had these holier than thou family guys look down at me for life choices I made. This is like from the commenters. You can find this under Knuckle Up. Some guy wrote this on YouTube. And so I took great delight in having him being, you know, Mr. Upstanding family man, being shown, getting his comeuppance, you know. I mean, you know, and that's what's motivating Snoop. Yeah, I mean, and
You really think Snoop's not jealous of Cormier?
it's not about jealousy, man. It's not about jealousy. It's that the hectoring tone and this idea, which is what I just said. That the commenter was just saying about how, you know, I've had family members.
But the commenter was a fuck up. Snoop is like an enormously successful multimillionaire.
No, yeah, but I mean, but it could be like that woman. What's her name? The woman who wanted to. They found out she actually was trying to blackmail the record labels into funding her own Christian record label. Remember, it's like, oh, you know, it's gangster music and denigrating women. Like maybe he channeled that. You know, he saw that in Daniel Cormier. You know.
I mean, you know, and Daniel, and moreover, he's a little bit right. You know, he's a little bit right. You know, at the point where, you know, Johnny Boney Joni has got issues to deal with his wife. You know, because he was taking the street overlord and going out. He wasn't taking street overlord and going home. You know, so he's lost his belt. He's lost, you know, a regular source of income. At the point, he was actually in wearing the orange jumpsuit. You know, I mean, this is, and you're going to start calling the guy a junkie and a cokehead and this, and your kid should be ashamed of you. You know, it was you want to gin up a fight. Well, okay, you got it. You got that fight that you ginned up. You know, I counted 16 unanswered blows. That's what you got.
Well,
you know?
One thing I think is so funny about the Snoop comment is just look at what he said. He said, never talk about a man when he's down. You want to pick him up when he's down. And what does Snoop did? Snoop was like, what Snoop do? Snoop was like,
well, yeah, but I think he's making. But I think he's making a point. You know, I think he's making a point.
I'm not showing you what you should have done. I'm showing you how it feels.
Yeah, exactly. All right. What does it feel like? How's it feel? Does it feel pretty tasty, huh? I mean, in my own life, I've been. Yeah, I did. Let's see if I can tell this story.
I would say, no, I can't.
No, okay.
Go ahead,
back in the old days, a family member got a drug burn. Burned by drugs by this guy. Gave the guy $60. Guy disappeared, never came back with it. 9 years passes, everybody clears up, and a family member is in the store, and he bought a TV. He's like, how the fuck, you know, this is in New York City, and everybody driving around in cars. How am I gonna get this to my place? How am I gonna? And he looks out, and the guy who beat him for drugs just happens to be in front of the appliance store, and he says, hey, Doobie. And that was the guy's name, Doobie. He said, Doobie, could you give me a hand with this? And Doobie goes, cool. So Doobie carries his TV, because Doobie's still in the game, right? The family members cleaned up. Doobie's in the game. Carries his TV 33 blocks, right? Oh, gets to the dude's house, and he's like, oh, yeah, you know, maybe if you could kick me off something, you know? And he's like, why don't you just deduct it from that $60 you beat me for 9 years ago? Took his TV and went on inside. I love that story.
Oh, family love. So,
that's kicking down, Eugene. That's the exact thing you said not to do.
Now, you're teaching somebody a lesson.
But also, humor like heat rises.
Yes.
So you kick down and... So, Nate, it's time for your heel turn.
It's time for my heel turn. Well, I've had it with fucking Guam, okay? Like, dead weight. When was the last time Guam did anything for us? And now we're supposed to get in a war with North Korea because they're going to get nuked? Shh. President Trump is doing everything he can to protect the citizens, and Guam is fucking it all up by being in range of North Korea's missiles. So, Guam, you're on the list. That's all I got to say.
I have a question for you. Are you bringing to bear any actual anxiety over this?
The Trump?
fire
Yeah,
and the fury.
a little bit, just because, I feel like the inertia of the media and the deep state is towards more war. Although they like to have wars with Middle Eastern countries that don't have any capacity to really defend themselves, which North Korea is in a very different category. So, but I also feel like there's a lot of disconnection from reality with a lot of people. And then, so there's that inertia of war, war, war. I mean, it's great ratings for CNN to talk about, oh my God, North Korea has nukes. Oh my God, Trump said something crazy. Oh my God, Kim said something crazy. Like that's what they want, is to get everybody hysterical and watching TV. And then Trump is an idiot who can't even read a briefing paper, much less a book. And then Kim is completely paranoid and insane. So yes, this is concerning to me. A war on that peninsula would involve, within minutes, North Korea, South Korea, Japan, and China, and the U.S. all in one big happy fucking conflagration. So it is something to be concerned about, but I'm not really. I mean, if I die, I die. Like, you can only die once. If you die with everybody else, hey, you're in good company.
So what do you think, they're going to be blowing up Austin?
No, but I mean, even a mid-sized nuclear exchange in the northern hemisphere will fuck up everybody, man. Nuclear fallout, nuclear winter, all that shit. Didn't you see that movie on ABC TV 30 years ago?
That's right. It was the day after.
Yeah.
See, I think he saw Game of Thrones with the dragons bringing the fire and the fury.
You're the only nerd around here that watches Game
I'm going to do that to you, North Korea.
Uh-huh.
You talk about a nuclear winter, you think about winter is coming. I'm telling you, man. Game of Thrones, that's what it's all about. He's just hyped up on that shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, even a mid-sized nuclear exchange between Pakistan and India would fuck the northern hemisphere for quite some time. So, like, nuclear weapons are not to be fucked with. There's no such thing as a happy, limited harm tactical nuke exchange.
I was ranting today, and
you?
So I was on the front lawn. Well, I don't have a lawn anymore. I was in the front yard of my house, and I was ranting, and I was screaming to no one in particular, though Popeye was there listening to me. I said, I am fucking Bruce Lee. And, Popeye didn't know what this meant, and I didn't really know what it meant when I said it, but there was a great scene in Enter the Dragon where he gets captured by Mr. Han.
Yes.
And
comic book.
Yeah, he tries to climb out, and James Bond like this, and what does he do? He just sits down. And I remember when they were talking about Stalin, they were talking about this one guy. They said out of all their interrogations for their show trials, they broke everybody. This is with how much does Russia weigh? I mean, and they did foul shit. I mean, the Nazis would just physically hurt you. The Russians would bring in your family, and they would do stuff to your family in front of you. I mean, you're gonna break, right? One guy out of 700, they did everything. This guy couldn't get him to break, and I think probably his psycho cosmology topography was just that he just look. This is the lot I've been given.
He was like Job.
Right. This is, I mean, this is why at a certain point, and when you get to a certain age,
okay,
horror movies are not scary anymore, because the thing that they most threaten to take from you, your life, is fucking fleeting anyway. What do you care?
What about your sanity? That's what's actually scary about ghost story movies, because it's it's not people actually seeing ghosts. It's people thinking they're seeing ghosts because they're fucking batshit.
These are people who extend way too much significance to the state of sanity to begin with. Like, I think all these movies with demonic possession, and you remember that great scene where Father Merrin comes into the bedroom with Reagan and the Exorcist, and Reagan sitting on the bed and goes, yeah, he goes, locks in and goes, Father Merrin, and and it was a terrifying moment. But then you'd start to say, how come everybody, they come into it with such a negative attitude? I mean, the way demons purportedly are able, like other angelic beings, they can see bits and pieces of the future. So it's not so much that they're lying necessarily or deceiving you, but they can't see clearly enough to be able to make sense of it. So they are like literally
grasping at straws.
Yeah, proto divine lunatics, schizophrenics. So, which a lot of people say demonic possession is really just advanced schizophrenia. So, why wouldn't you start asking about, hey, why don't you give me some horse racing tips? I mean, you got who killed Kennedy? I got questions. You might be lying, but it's a 50% chance that you're lying. So, I mean,
make a good time of it.
And you say, Eugene, well, this is completely crazy. I'm not convinced. I'm completely sane. So I don't attach an extraordinary amount of significance to the idea of sanity. I mean, my roommate came screaming.
Well, you don't.
Out of his head, and I run into his room. I go, what happened? And apparently, a 3-foot-long Hitler had materialized over his bed. But he had a loft over his bed. I said, how did he get under the loft? He goes, he materialized through the loft. I go, how was he coming towards you? Well, he was just floating. I go, like how? He goes, well, like he was swimming. I go, it was Hitler, 3 foot tall? He goes, yes. Everybody else laughed at him. I didn't. How do I know? This same guy was knocked off of a cliff by a big black batwing creature. And you would say, well, he was in the woods. He was taking a lot of LSD. It was probably a bat. Yeah, except it knocked another guy off too, who reports the same thing. This guy now.
As well?
No, he was not. And this guy is now world-renowned quantum mechanics physicist.
Man,
my point is, I'm resigned to it all. He dropped the bomb. Well, I got nothing.
Yeah, that's like I said. You can only die once, and if you're going to die in good company,
can you?
All the better. Well, that's where reincarnation spooks me.
Yeah.
Or the Zodiac killer. He claimed he was killing people so they could be slaves in the afterlife, and that, I got to admit, makes me a little uncomfortable.
Or Herbert Mullins, who claims that all the people he killed actually asked for him to kill them. And they said, Mr. Mullins, does that seem likely? He goes, yeah, I thought it was crazy too.
I thought he was killing people to prevent a big earthquake.
Yeah, he was, but they asked him to. They asked him to.
If you ask me to,
He was friends with a friend of mine. They went to high school together. And he said, yeah, Mullins was kind of strange in high school, but it was the 60s.
I see.
Well, Eugene.
Hey, man.
It's about sanity, craziness, knowing where you are. Take a good look at the face. What about your Lost Battalion?
Well, I didn't do Knuckle Up this week. One, because we fell below the quorum for care on this. I think between the two of us, Kid Nate and I had 3 cares. And that's not... And also the wife had the national pole championships in LA.
How did that go? Did she win?
She took gold.
She took gold.
Gold.
Yeah.
In what division?
Junior level 3.
Junior level 3.
Wow.
So they're 5 levels. So that's the equivalent.
The Robinson way, man.
Hashtag the Robinson way. So I'm waiting to get some photos to put them up. But it was.
So there was actually a field of contenders, and because the way you usually get your medals is there's.
Yeah, you know what? There's never been me alone on that podium. It's always been me
and one other guy, and then a blank spot.
And two other sad sacks who were victims of fate. No, there was six people in her division, so she actually really crushed it. So that's why I didn't do the show. But it doesn't mean I didn't see the fight. And I have to say, and you guys know it's coming. And you all would, to those of you who were texting me during it, I think it's time for Rashad to, I don't think technically, I didn't think until yesterday that technically he was in Lost Battalion because I assumed he knew where he was. But that was yesterday. Today he's quoted as saying stuff that indicates clearly that he is in the Lost Battalion, and yeah, I mean, there's a brave face. Who was it? Somebody interviewed 2 other cats. They interviewed Gil Melendez, and they interviewed, or maybe it was maybe it was Rashad. I don't remember. And they both asked him about future moves, and there was that telltale pause. And that telltale pause stands between what I think you want to hear, because I want to make the journalist happy, and in my quiet, lone moments, what I really think is the case. And I think that Rashad, I don't know what he's going to do, but sticking around is not it. And I don't care what he says now. You know, that's he's not at a barbecue or a campfire. That's not smoke. That is mist. And it's just time to maybe sit cross-legged on the ground and wait for the inevitable.
Man. I think it's weird, all these psych majors like him and Weidman, like the individuals who initially, when they start out, you're like, wow, they have a really fascinating perspective on fight psychology.
Yeah, but
but then it gets to a certain point, you're like, oh, Lord.
But you remember what that was like. I mean, you went to college. It's like, don't date girls who are psych majors. Why? Right. Because they're taking the classes to help themselves with their own problems. So
yes.
And the same works for, of course, male psych majors. I just want to find out how my mind works. Yeah, really, if Stanford had given minors, you know what mine would have been? Religious philosophy. Not trying so much to help myself with my own problems, just trying to make sense of the world around me.
Man. On that note, thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter, Eugene S. Robinson, at Alexiota Kid Nate, Facebook at MA Pancholes. Please give us a thumbs up.
Bring.
Leave comments on YouTube. Subscribe to our MMANation.com on YouTube. And MMA Nation, subscribe to our MMANation.com. What the fuck is that? No, that's literally what it says. Subscribe to our MMA Nation.
What do you mean? You wrote it, right?
Did I?
It. It's.
I'm blaming John Nash. He had access to this at some point.
Okay.
I'm blaming Hitler.
He's like, what the fuck?
Hey, did you see that guy Anthony and the needle drop guy did a review of the Thin Black Duke, and people would tell me Anthony Antano he's a great. I said, I never heard of this guy. I've never heard. Well, apparently everybody else has heard of him because he's the biggest nerd on in the internet. And he's a nice guy. He's been emailing me. I was just like, he's a nice guy, like the cat from the BBC. And he's a nice guy. I don't know anything about his career outside of just emailing me. But then the record label texted me, and they go, I think somebody's hacked your account. I go, why? Because suddenly you're selling lots of records. I like that. So hats off to Anthony Antano, despite the nasty rumor that he's an alt-right guy. I don't care. He's nice to me. And we got 534 comments and over 40,000 the hits. That's the kind of guy. That's a thumbs up right there, baby. So,
that's right.
So check it out if you of the mind. If you don't want to buy Thin Black Duke, but you just want to hear people talk about Thin Black Duke, there you go.
Buy my Eugene's records. Remember that Sanford son with Bubba? Oh, Lord. Visit Bloody Elbow, buy Oxbows to that Black Duke wherever fine music is sold. And be sure to check out all three of us on Amazon.com. We'll be back next week with another installment. If I did it, I don't know what we're going to be talking about yet because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.